Hi, everyone. Mac Pierre-Louis here, attorney at law and mediator from Houston, Texas, co-founder of instantmediations.com.
And Natalia Owska-Czajka, attorney and mediator from Warsaw, Poland, and co-founder of instantmediations.com. And we are here together with...
And today, we're here with Vikram Singh. And Vikram, please, we're going to introduce you to the world on our platform. Like to just talk to you for a few minutes about how mediation is in your part of the world. So we're glad to have you today. But Vikram, go ahead and tell us a little bit about yourself.
First of all, thank you, Mac and Natalia, to have me on this. And I think today with this world that we have, we're all connected and everything's gone global. And mediation specifically is something that will easily go global. I think that's a very good step that you've taken, good initiative. I think it's going to go places. I'm a lawyer based in Delhi, India. And I've been, of course, before I became a lawyer, I was a business consultant. And about 20 years back, I qualified and enrolled at the Bar Council in Delhi. So that's what I am. But based on my practice, I've actually been a mediator and have been helping parties settle disputes right throughout my practice. So that's the kind of practice I always had. But I just felt that parties should not be into litigation at all. I mean, that is something that should not happen. It should not be the first step. It should not be any step. So right from the beginning, it was to make sure actually went down to preemption and prevention of disputes. So that is the way I went about my practice. And then obviously settling disputes was a part of it. There was mediation advocacy also, which I did. But now it's become a pure mediation as a mediator practice. This is what I am doing right now.
Got it. So what exactly brought you into mediation, into the craft?
I'm telling you, this is something that as a person, as my mindset, the way I looked at the profession, I just felt that that is where I belong. That's what I need to do. And I mean, I'm telling you, it's just totally a mindset thing. I mean, I can't even today think of doing anything else. That's the way it is.
Thank you. And so what's the situation of mediations in India? For example, how are court-appointed mediations treated? What about private contractual mediations? What's the situation in your country?
Okay, so we have court-annexed mediation centers, and we have district courts and we have the high courts. So both the places we have these mediation centers. In our civil procedure code, there is the courts should send matters to mediation which they think are fit for mediation. So the matters get sent to the mediation centers where mediation takes place. Then we have something called pre-institution mediation. So they have a Commercial Courts Act. Under that act, before you can actually go to court, you have to go through the mediation process. So that's a pre-institution mediation option which you have to take. So that's from the court perspective. We have various acts which have mediation as part of it. So we have, I mean, there's an act, the Industrial Disputes Act, which had conciliation as part of it years back. I mean, it's not really been something which is used that much, but it's there on paper. So then we have the Companies Act, which has mediation as part of it. In July of this year only, there's a new Consumer Protection Act, which has got notified, which has a special section on mediation. So the law definitely has mediation as part of it, as part of the law. Then you have, of course, private mediations which are taking place. There are institutions which are doing it. People like me as mediators who are independent practitioners are doing it. So we have that happening also. So that is the broader picture. And then with the Singapore Convention on Mediation, which comes into force from next month. So to ratify, India is a signatory to that. So to ratify it, there's a law which is being framed. And the expectation is that not only for the international commercial mediation, but also for domestic mediations, the enforcement aspect will be part of that. That is the expectation. But finally, what comes out is what we'll have to see that. But the move is towards that. So the enforcement of settlement agreements, which are domestic also, that if that comes up in the law, that it's an added thing. I mean, I've always said that a settlement agreement by itself should not require further enforcement. I mean, you've been part of a mediation, you've understood the issues involved, and you've got into a settlement agreement. So there should be no need to get into enforcement, but with that stamp, it helps the practice. People can say, yes, enforcement is there, it's available if required. So that is what the whole concept of the Singapore Convention was, that international commercial mediation should have some stamp of enforceability. So at least we're working on that. So I think that will really push private mediation a lot.
Yep.
So now, is the online mediation popular in India? And if yes, what tools are used? What the perspective of online mediation do you see, and the opportunities for it in India?
So now look at the court annex mediation. So that say specifically say we have a Delhi High Court that they've come out with guidelines for online mediation. So they're using WebEx, Cisco WebEx for that. So at least there, the concept of mediation in a court annex mediation has also gone online. So that is obviously a good step that way. So at least people understand that yes, mediation can go online and should go online, and the platform is available to do that. So that's happening on the court annex. On private mediations, definitely it could always be online. So institutions are obviously now looking at developing that. That's one part of the online mediation of institutions. Then there are startups which are developing. They've developed platforms where private mediation, but everything goes through their platform. So that's also happening. So a lot of online. I mean, I'm not saying in terms of numbers or scale is going to be the same as the US. We're not there at all. But at least that step that we've taken, and something which, because of the pandemic, obviously it's going to spread faster. People becoming familiar with using Zoom or whatever other video conferencing platform that they're using. At least the whole aspect of being able to speak to people over video conferencing and being able to gauge their whatever facial expressions and be able to understand that from there. Because that was one limitation that people always spoke about mediation online. So body language is very essential, and what will happen online. But I think people have now understood that it's not so difficult. Earlier you had the entire body to look at, but now you have to pick up things from the face. We'll pick it up. I think we're good at that. We will pick up from maybe the eyes or whatever we have to do. So I think that way online mediation, the advantage is that at least people are there online and they've now got used to the aspect of interacting online.
Okay, so do you think we need any standards in online mediation? And if yes, how to ensure them?
Look, the first thing is that the general, I would not say standards to start with. Of course, standards should come in, but just the fact of conducting something online, what are the procedures that should be followed? What is it that you have to explain to the parties? It's like we talk about confidentiality, the fact that you have to explain to them that no one should be around in the room, there should be no recording of the proceeding in any way. So all those things, first of all, the aspect of the mediation itself, the process of mediation itself, to be able to explain to people what these basic standards in that sense of the mediation itself. Then obviously the conduct of the mediator, what the kind of standards that the mediator has to follow. For an online mediation, are they going to be different in terms of the information which is being passed across, whatever, say even a draft of an agreement or a certain document that is sent to you, how are you going to be able to safeguard the confidentiality of that document which comes to you? So, I mean, of course, those aspects also there has to be some standards there, but definitely a uniform standard should be developed. I think that
okay. So do you think that certification in online mediation needs to take place and to ensure that those standards are being kept?
I think yes, there has to be some kind of a, I mean, look, when we talk about certification, the certification, I mean, like we always keep saying that India is a very nascent market for mediation. It's just about getting there. So when we get too much into certification, it should not spoil the process. It should not, I mean, this is something which is an informal process. As a person who's doing mediation, as a mediator, the person is, I mean, what is he doing? He's facilitating a discussion. He's facilitating a negotiation. So to say that you have to reach a certain level of certification and everything at this stage, I think in India should not be the focus. It should be put into place. Yes, we have to take those steps. But I think the more important aspect is to be able to have numbers happening. We have to have people first being users. Let's say, look at arbitration itself. Now, arbitration in India has been happening for decades, but the fact of basic kind of qualification or standards and everything, there wasn't much. We've got amendments now in the Arbitration Act to look at that. And that was a person who's actually going to, that award that he passes is like a degree of the court. Here, you are not going to, the parties are going to reach the settlement on their own. So I think we first have to just get a basic knowledge and understanding of mediation and the practice of mediation out. So that's the first step. So I would think let's look at training in online mediation as a step, then certification. So I think to start with, let's not say that certification should be the primary focus. So because we might get lost in that certification process, and then we won't need numbers. We won't get numbers. And with a country like ours, huge numbers we need. I mean, I don't know if you know what are the kind of pending matters we have in courts. A guess, just a guess. How many in the entire country? Just a guess.
200,000 active cases backlogged.
33 million. 33 million pending matters in the court. And the numbers which get filed every year and the numbers get disposed every year is about the same. So that backlog, how is it going to be cleared? So first thing is, from the courts, there's so many matters which have to go out for mediation. Can those be handled itself only in the court annexed mediation centers, or they, because parties are always free to choose their own mediators. So they can also, whatever, if they can find it online or whatever, the idea is for them, if they say we've settled the matter, they can go to the court and they say we've settled the matter, this is what we've settled it as, and please pass a decree on that. They can tell the court themselves also. It doesn't have to go through a process where the court has to send you. Parties are always free to settle matters themselves. So a lot of that can come into private mediation also. So we're talking about huge numbers. So for that, you need so many mediators. So I'm saying first thing is to be able to get people to use it. We get people to be trained, basic training. And I say that in terms of qualification as a mediator, our acts have put down what kind of people can become mediators in those acts. And that should be a good guideline to tell you that, okay, this kind of a person, say an advocate with 10 years of experience, from his practice, he understands what helping parties settle the dispute is. So that kind of person with a certain kind of training, a basic training, doesn't have to go through the 40-hour training, doesn't have to. If he does go through it, it's maybe good for him, but he doesn't have to. So he gets that training. And then when you've got your numbers going, then you look at certification.
Okay.
Thank you so much. That really answers my questions, and that's been pretty interesting. Thank you for all this input, things that you put into our minds to think deeper about.
Yes, thank you, Vikram, and we appreciate your time. And hopefully we will continue our work together in this area of online mediations.
Absolutely. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.